Today, it's all about markers. Everyone's coming back from Creativation at the time of recording, and they're talking about a whole bunch of new products, a lot of them markers. And so, because I didn't go and I've got serious creative FOMO, I went out and bought some stuff. Now, some of the markers we're going to work with today are just things that are new to me, not necessarily new to the market. So, specifically, what I have here today are two different Sharpies, and I'm confused about them, so maybe you can fill me in. But we've got the Sharpie Creative Markers, okay? Apparently they pop on light and dark surfaces, which is interesting, and maybe that's the difference. These are also, and these are brush markers, I think. Yes, brush tip. And then we have just the Sharpie brush permanent markers. So maybe this is just normal Sharpie ink, whatever that is, because these say water-based acrylic markers. That's the difference. Okay. Sharpie, but brush form. Sharpie acrylic markers with a brush tip, and it can work on dark surfaces. So I've got Kareen. I've got Kareen's new pigment deco brush. Spoiler alert, I have tried these bad boys and I am fascinated with them. And then these two other markers that I have today, and I also have some Staedtlers, but they're watercolor markers. So I have the Click Art retractable marker pen from Zebra. Had these for a while, just never used them. And then I have these mini Stabilos. I got these I was at Barnes and Noble and got myself good and distracted and you know, complete impulse buy. But I just love the format. They're super sweet little format. And these are a 0.4 millimeter tip. I have smaller hands, so I like how these feel in my hand. So I'm going to be messing around with those. And yeah, that's where we're at. So let's get these out of the packaging. So Lord knows they're not going to stay in here. Oh heavens, this one. These stickers they use, they're for serious. They are for serious. All right, so we got these bad boys. I actually know exactly what I'm going to do with these in terms of storage. So go ahead, head into comments. Let me know if you've tried any of these yet. I saw someone say that, yes, Nicole has the Kareen markers. She's enjoying those. Sharpie collection is big. Gina, I love that. Yeah, the Kareen markers are really nice, Ray. They definitely are. Yeah. All right. And then we have these. Those are going to be fun. One thing I really do love about Sharpies is you don't get the bleed if you're painting over top of them. So that is a bonus. And I like the fact now that we have a brush option with that. That's also exciting. Now we'll see. It's probably a brush tip, which you know how I feel about people calling them brush markers when they're not really. They're just a more flexible, like felt tip. I like brush tips that are actually bristly, like Zig, Kiritake Zig watercolor. Like I'm doing this wrong. I'm clearly doing this wrong. But Kiritake Zig watercolor markers are a true brush tip. The watercolor markers I'm designing are a true brush tip. Oh, these have a nice feel. Very, very nice. Why does that say top? I wonder if these have to be stored a certain way. Let's see. They give us any, because the Kareen markers, let me tell you, they are very specific about how they need to be stored. Colors layer without blending, boldly marks on paper, metal, wood, ceramic, glass, rock, and canvas. Nice. No priming needed. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Okay. And I'll just give you, flash the Koreans here. Very specific. There they are. Love, love, lovely. I mean, look at this. Look at all the instructions for storage. The storage on these is nuts. The foam insert is at an angle, which I'm not going to be able to show you that. I mean, maybe actually. Yeah. Do you see that? Skinnier over here, gets wider over here because they're on an angle. They need to, and so the point needs to be on the down angle so the ink keeps flowing. Kind of like a fine bottle of wine. You want to store them at an angle towards the cork. I don't drink wine, but I learned that somewhere along the way, and I thought it was interesting. Okay. Now I'm going to use a very not traditional paper. I'm going to use cold press because I like to push the envelope. These have a little stopper, a little nubbin inside of them that I have to get rid of. How's everybody doing? Lyra fine liners. Ooh, you know what, Nicole? I almost picked up Lyra fine liners in Germany. Don't know why I didn't. Don't know why I didn't. Black ones are acrylic, yeah. Cool, cool, cool. Question from Ray. Can you tell us more about products you've got in development stages? I can for sure. So Ray, if you could, if I forget, I'm gonna just put a pause on that right now. I'll definitely chat about that coming up here. If I don't chat about it within the next like 20 to 30 minutes and you're still here, go ahead and ask the question again, or our Scrubs sketches and Scrubs will come in and she'll maybe remember that as well. Cool. Dollar General metallics are your favorite markers. Actually, what did I just get from Five Below? I got something. Watercolor, fine liner watercolor markers. You know, maybe we should just bring those in. Let's get the Stedlers in. All right, I've got the double-ended. These were also, I think, I think we're talking about these Stedlers from Creativation or NAMTA. I know it is Creativation. I need to get back there. Presented there a few years ago when I was developing product with a product developer. And they had me come and hang out in their booth and demo, but I also had 2 sessions that I submitted for that got accepted that I was speaking on. So I got to do that next year. I've got to like speak there again and see if they'll have me. So I got these at Five Below, these fine tip watercolor pens. And I think it makes sense to actually show them today because I think my guess is that they're going to act more just like a regular marker. I can't imagine them being super explosive because they're a fine point. But can we just talk about how flipping adorable they are? They've each got a name that is done in a holographic, go green, holographic print. They've got this cool, like, throwback, like, cut glass texture. Let me try to get it to focus. Look at that. Let's look at a darker one. This blue one. It's really, I mean, they're just, I mean, bravo Five Below. Bravo. Out of the blue, it's called. We love our vanity names on art supplies. And it's a nice fine tip. It looks very much like, it almost looks like, what's the name of that? A flare. It looks a little flarish to me. So I have higher hopes than I originally did for these. Okay, but gosh, I can't get over how pretty. I'll tell you, Five Below has the best budget, like serious budget art supply section on the planet, hands down, in my opinion. Hello, MJ, GR, first time for a live. I'm so glad you're here. Friends, if you're having a good time so far, this isn't the least bit interesting. I would appreciate a boop. That's a like. It's a thumbs up, whatever you call it. I call it a boop. And that would be awesome. You've got the Click It markers, the Crafts for All since 2024. Hey, can you let me know in comments what you're thinking of those click markers? I'm actually looking to develop a set. It's actually been a really big chase, but I want to develop a set of kids markers that are really affordable, really good quality, have a nice hand feel, that are retractable, or at least have an attached cap, because I'm a mom and it's something that drives me nuts. And the Click It markers are some that are on the market, but very pricey for a kid's marker. So that's kind of one of the problems with those in terms of my thinking. And then Crayola did one, but they were very clunky. I don't even know if they're being made anymore. Extremely clunky. They had a very strange hand feel. And I'm all about, I got sensory stuff, so I'm all about the hand feel. I mean, we all are. Let's just face it. Some of us are just more aware. I am grabbing these cute little containers that I picked up on Temu recently. They're like little drawer. These are the inserts for the drawers. And they're great for smaller collections of supplies. And yes, you might be wondering, Temu, they're ripping you off. Well, Temu isn't ripping me off, but they're supporting some of the rip offers. But the reality of it is, and I explained this in a video, in a live that I did, all about copycats and dupes and should you shop on Temu, and I'll try to get that in the description below. But I do still shop on Temu. I do it in a very responsible way. I believe I'm being responsible. And so I always just like to mention that when I do talk about a Temu product that I ordered. If you want to learn more about how to shop more responsibly on Temu, you can go check out that video. I need more of them now because look how cute. I mean, these are just lovely little ways to store these collections. And I could pop these in here with these because they look cute together, don't they? Yes. This just by itself is fun. All right. So I have a little bit more organization on this desk. What questions do y'all have about markers? I'm going to play today. I want to play around with how these feel on cold press. I'm going to pull out some black watercolor paper and see how these black Sharpies here actually perform. If they perform like they say they do, they're supposed to perform on darker paper. Yes, Temu is awesome for storage bins and Academy paper. I will say this, Anne Marie, I purchased these storage bins on Temu, something very much like these. They're clear. They got a little click opening. I purchased one, and like a dingbat, paid like $8 for one. Or no, I think it was more like $11 for one. It was a little thicker. It was a little deeper. I went on to Amazon because when I went back to buy more, I'm like, that just doesn't sound right. Maybe I got it on a deal, but the full price was like 11 or 12 bucks. So I went on Amazon and I found a set of 3 for $23. And these actually function better. So this is kind of an added thing to consider when shopping on Temu. Just do a quick cross-reference, because I'm finding that it's not always cheaper. Temu does a lot of flash sales that draw you in. And then when you go back and you look at your order history and you're like, oh, I want to buy more of that, price is often very different and higher. So I just discovered that the other day. But yes, Academy on Temu, just be aware that Academy on Temu, I think sometimes is seconds, imperfect, maybe some sizing issues, but still works. Still works for me. Yeah. Just steer clear of anything that has a pattern, looks like watercolor artwork, or even any kind of artwork, whether it's watercolor, looks acrylic, looks graphic. I would steer clear of that kind of stuff because I don't trust how those folks are sourcing that artwork. Academy cheaper on Amazon. Yeah, sometimes it is. Sometimes definitely if you hit a flash sale on Temu, it can be a lot cheaper. Bigger ones cheaper on Amazon. If I had to guess, I think they can make a lot more smaller blocks from seconds paper That's why I think it's more expensive on Temu for the larger. Because Temu's is a lot of the Temu Academy is seconds. Just spitballing though. I'm not saying that is fact. All right, let's get into it. Sharpie, base black. The hand feel chunky, chonky. I'm not immediately not in love. It's not quite long enough for me. I am very picky. I've been doing some of these fun rose sketches lately. I'm gonna go in that direction with this one. Okay, so like it's a nice soft, not real bristles, definitely not. So brush is a misnomer. It's a felt tip, feels felty. You can get nice fine lines with this. But it's felty, but it's not stiff felty. My absolute largest disdain in the brush marker realm is reserved for companies that call the marker a brush marker and it's a felt tip that is stiff. For the love of all things creative and beautiful, stop it. That is a felt tip marker. It's just a longer point. It is not a brush marker. Now, I have far less disdain for a brush tip like this. That is still very felty feeling, even if it's not actual felt tip, it still feels felt tip, but is much softer and springier. Springier isn't the right word. It's softer and it just has that kind of that laxity to it that you would expect of a paint brush, right? So, does anybody else have this like very peculiar like specificity about brush markers like I do? If you do, say brush marker in comments. If you're like me, please hit it in comments. I want to know that I'm not alone. I pray I'm not alone. Just another weirdo thing about me, maybe. So I like it. I like the feel. I like the feel. Elizabeth. Wait, how old is Elizabeth? Nicole doesn't like brush marker. Okay, Michelle feels the same. Anne Marie feels the same. Kathy. All right. I am not alone. Pentel. Oh, shoot. Nicole, your question just went right off the screen. Pentel stylo pen marker. Do you have one? Do you like Tombow dual pens? I don't have the Pentel stylo. All right, I need to make a list. All right, so here's some Tombows that I have. Here is a Copic multi-liner. I got sepia, I got pink, and I think I got purple and blue too while I was in Europe. You know, I used to subscribe to, and I kind of feel like I want to do it again, Sketchbox. That's a lot of where this jazz came from. I got all sorts. Is this no, that's a coloring brush pen by Koi. Mono drawing pen from Tombow. I'm gonna put that in there. This is Tombow, yep. This is another, what is this? I don't know what brand that is. Here's a Copic multi-liner that I had and kind of forgot I had, which is funny. This looks Kuretake-like. Anywho, and I've got some of the Pitt pens from Faber-Castell. All right. Okay. Let's get to it. And I brought out the Tombows because somebody asked, and I want to remember if I like them because I haven't used them in a while. So we've got the dual, definitely not a brush. I don't even know if these are even good anymore. They're kind of old. The classic felt tip, very stiff. And then let's see. Let me do some first. Let me do some leaves. I do like the feel of how the Sharpie ink or whatever is laying on the paper with this brush kind of application. And look how thin I can get. That's nice. Yeah, I'm a fan so far. Look at that. Look how thin. The hand feel isn't bothering me as much as it initially was concerning me. All right. Nice and thin, given like how stubby that point is. I'm pretty surprised. Oh my gosh, my desk is hysterical right now. Let me check comments. Dear friends, what is a good marker brand? Well, we are trying to find out here. Admin day, paperwork is all entered, just hopping on. Love it. Jamaica Anderson art. Janica, sorry, Janica. Yes, Nicole, send me a post of the Pentel Stylo. It's very unique. Put it in our whatchamacallit group. How does everyone store their palettes? I saw someone suggested a pan lid holder. I'd be curious to hear the answer to that. Arteza brush markers, haven't really compared with others. I haven't tried those. Got some, ooh, markers at Goodwill. I love that. I found my son a pair of Nike, beautiful, like probably worn once sneakers at Goodwill last weekend. 30 bucks. Actually, it was at Plato's Closet, which I'm now learning is like a whole thing. Okay, so I don't like the Tombow brush feel nearly as much as the Sharpie. It does not have the laxity and the softness that I prefer. I actually, though, really like this color. Very, very lovely. And then let's take a look at the other end. Now, these are water soluble, though. Am I not mistaken? These will move and groove with water. The other end, yeah, just a stiff felt, but without a point, which always bums me out. Like, why wouldn't you make this pointy? For the love. I would rather just a smaller, longer, skinnier version of this over here. Ugh, I just gave myself an idea. Y'all got to write that down. I've been designing watercolor markers for a couple years and just never been happy with the way things have been going. But what I was doing is I was right now the design is a true brush on one side and then a fine liner on the other side, but it's too fine. It doesn't spread in water at all, like it's pointless. So I like this idea of just two different size brush options. Who makes Sean, I love your first comment was, what is a good marker brand? Next comment was to buy while not having a job. Love, love, love that so much. That was fantastic. All right. Add a little bit more green here. That's nice. I gotta say, Sharpie, nice work. Nice work. I like the feel. I like the feel of that brush. I do. All right, let's put a little watercolor in this baddie. Let's get one of these Stedlers out. All right, Stedler. Just no. Stedler. Come on. It's just the icky kind of brush. It's the icky brush. I don't like it. But let's see how it releases. Not well. All right, let's but of course, look at that Sharpie holding its own. Look at that Sharpie holding its own. Light pressure, it's stained. Now I've got some dampness on here. Let's see how it reacts. I am using the Fabriano Fat whatever. I do not like this at all. Oh, I really wish I hadn't bought these. Hold on, let's start wet first. Let's start wet first. And then let it dry a little bit more. I mean, if these weren't supposed to be watercolor markers, I'd be happier. Do you know what I mean? And I guess that's how I could use them. I would definitely be happier if they weren't watercolor markers, trying to be watercolor markers. There's no way that is gonna, I mean, that's kind of pretty. Actually, okay, that's pretty. The fine liner into the damp page. Can you see that? That's kind of pretty. We're getting like a diffused kind of feel there. I like that. Yeah, y'all, what are your favorite art supply subscriptions? So Teresa gets Sketchbox. I like Sketchbox. I feel like I want to do it again. I will. One of my employees gave it to me as a gift. She gave me like a 6 month subscription, and I really enjoyed it. And then I stopped it for a while, and I started it up. I feel like I'm on the start it up again upswing. And I did Scrawler Box. I think that's what they're called. Sent me a bunch, and they were fun. Scrawler. I think that's what the name was, Scrawler. All right, let's see how a more intense color does on a damp page. And again, friends, I am using the Staedtlers here. Now I'm releasing some of that Tombow pigment, letting it dry a little bit. Sketches is back. Woohoo! All right, Staedtler watercolor brush marker, brush in quotes, if my opinion were the only one that counted. This is nice. I'm not gonna lie. This is nice. I like this tip. Can you see how, let that focus. There we go. That tip is finer, but not too fine. Yeah, I like that. And it diffuses nicely. It doesn't run out on a damp page quickly, which is bonus. And then let's see how it blends out. It is, I will say this though, on this particular paper, it's causing pilling, just the friction of using the pen, it's causing friction that is making it pill. But that's the paper, not the marker. Ah, freedom. Oh, I'm glad you're here. Thank you, Discord. That's what the word I was trying to get to come out of my mouth. All right. Oh, Sarah's gouache box from Craftimo. How is that, Nicole? Scrawl box is good. Scrawler box is good, says Anne Marie. 9 boxes when they had their Black Friday sale. Scrawler has a great sale. Didn't like, no, I've heard Chloe is it Chloe Rosart just got married. She did 2 reviews of Gravies, and we all know how I feel about Gravy in general as a company. You know, I'm not discounting them totally, but I have problems. But Chloe Rosart did her first review and was like, "Are you flipping kidding me with this?" Now she did a second one and liked that one better, so you should go watch those. I mean, just for the fact that she is ultimately entertaining and I love watching her. And I'm trying to work on a little collab with her when I'm in Florida. So who knows? We tried to make it work the last time I was there, but with the wedding coming up, it was just too crazy for her. But we're working on it. We're working on it. I hope it happens. Because I just kind of feel like we might be pretty hysterical together. Funny things might happen. I just have a feeling. All right. So I'm not totally poo-pooing these Staedtlers yet. I want to get them onto a regular cold press. Someone sent me, did you see Mail Time yesterday over on Instagram? Someone sent me samples of this Fayesse 100% rag paper that they are getting on Amazon. And I was like, oh, I want to try it. So she sent me a couple pieces. I'm going to go ahead and give a try to these acrylic markers first and then bring in the Staedtlers. I need a black. Is there a black? There's a gray. All right, let's go gray. Ooh, all right. Okay, not as juicy right off the bat as the Kareens, which I will show you later. But a nice, soft, pliable, yet still bouncy somehow. This is kind of like I'm going top down rose here. Nice thin lines, easy to make. Okay, Sharpie. I'm here. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it. Hey, Shawty, it's your birthday. Hey, Shawty. Okay, I'm here for it. Not unhappy. Not unhappy. Hmm. And if you're wondering, I sometimes have to remember, like, I'll make special comments. I'll be like, hey, Nicole, if there's certain people, in these lives that it probably seems fairly obvious that I know better, that I have more interaction with. And I'll tell you why. It's because more often than not, it's because they're in Patreon with me. They're some of my members. So, if you want to dig deeper, if you want to get more of what you feel I do well, you could hop into Patreon. It's a great space. It's a beautiful space to really push in and grow. A lot of what we do is more organic. A lot of the tiers are like Q&As. I sometimes bring in more specific lessons, but I also give you the space to kind of go free. For example, just the other night, what night was that, Nicole? I did a lesson on a whimsy wreath, where that particular live, I had planned to do a very specific project, but um, you don't have to follow the project. So I'll show you what I did, and then you can go on Nicole's Instagram and see what she did. So I, for an hour, taught everyone how to do this. And but then Nicole was like doing her own thing. And it was fun though, because I was able to like say, hey, Nicole, show me what you're doing. And I was able to kind of respond to it. And there's just a deeper level of learning that happens in spaces like that, I feel, where there is this balance of structure, but one-on-one, like specific conversations that can be had. So so just to explain sometimes where it may seem like I'm giving more attention to some people. It's just because I know them and we have offline conversations and we're, referring to them and all that kind of fun stuff. All right. So Sharpie, creative marker, which is their acrylic brush pen. And now the Stedler on top with a little bit of water, and I want to get it moving and grooving. I'm going to go over top and see what happens. Oh, I'm going right over everything. And it makes sense. Some of that acrylic marker is releasing. That's interesting. The Stedler is just hanging on for dear life. I'm not sure why they're called, and my water's dirty, so keep that in mind. But are these really watercolor markers? Hold on, I'm pulling the packaging out. Double-ended watercolor brush pens. I don't understand. They're not moving. Brush tip for beautiful watercolor effects on most watercolor papers, ideal for detailed sketching and illustration. There you have it. Okay, let's give this a try on a non 100% cotton. This is 100% cotton. This is not, though. I don't think. The fat pad isn't 100% cotton. 25% cotton. I wonder, sometimes watercolor markers don't work great on 100% cotton. That is something I have learned. A different kind of ink that has to be used. This is coming up, new video I'm working on. Basic watercolor for frustrated beginners. You want to see what I painted this with, friends? Do you want to see what I painted this with? That's what I painted this with. The crappy brush from the worst whatever, and my Artist Loft palette that I broke into pieces when I was doing my all blue challenge. You want to see the all blue challenge? I'll link it down below, because that's one of the videos that I'm like sore about that it just never popped off. But that is what I painted this with. Cool, right? Like, it's not the best thing I ever did, but it was fun and made me happy and gave me joy. And that's the point. Okay, so watercolor markers sometimes don't like the nice papers. So let's take a look here, because this is cellulose for sure. Oh, for the love, no. What? These are not watercolor markers. I am sorry. What? I'm going to be reaching out to Stedler. I'm going to be like, wait a minute. Y'all, are you feeling the frustration? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Like, these are not working. They are just, I mean, they work on wet paper, I guess. They do. But just what? I want my flipping money back. I mean, that's pretty, but I don't understand. Somebody throw me a lifeline. What am I doing wrong? What am I doing? Stedler, if you're out there, send a representative to this live. Talk us through this madness. What in the cotton picking heck? What? No. There's nothing right about these. What if you sprayed rubbing alcohol on them? I mean, maybe, but like on the paper first, Nicole, or after? Like, you saw how that didn't move and this paper pilled up like crazy. These didn't move. This is rag. They performed the best, honestly, on this 25% cotton situation here. Oh my gosh. I'm going to reach out to Settler, and if I get an update, I will put it in the community section here. Let me write myself a note. Reach out to Stedler, WTF. Sorry. It's definitely a WTF moment. Sorry. WTH. What the heck? But like, I love this. So we've got Sharpie, Tombow, and the fine point of the Stedler. Stedler seemed to work best on the 25% cotton, but still, I'm very angry at those right now. Very angry. Like, stop it. You are not a real watercolor marker. First thing I can say, Sharpie, y'all, let's get some more colors in these Sharpie brush pen situations. We need colors, more colors pronto. I am a dilly-doo fan. Oh, yes. And I'm really loving that Tombow color, that aqua color. I'm looking at comments. Throw it out the window that they are watercolor markers. Yeah, I would just use them as markers. What I was doing here is to see if I got any bit to pull from the Sharpie ink, but no. It'd be cool if I could. Be cool. That's one thing I love to do with supplies, friends, is I love to like push the envelope, and like if I could get any of that Sharpie ink to move, if I applied something else quickly, I would do that. I would actually use that in work. I know I would, because that would be exciting. I really get excited when I can get supplies to do really curious things that they're not designed to do. And I think that's why mixed media is so exciting for me. Yeah. You get some wicked awesome combinations and textures when you're willing to push like that. Even just like push the texture, like the pressure of that brush, and you get some like gradation there. Okay, just know, but I like the creative brush pen from Sharpie. So let's get more into those. I'm going to go to a separate page because I actually like where this is going, and I feel like I could build this out. And I actually feel like that could be a fun like licensing collection. So I'm not going to just draw whatever everywhere on that one. I'm going to keep it clean. Let me look at questions because they are flying around here. So much going on. All right. So there was a question about products that I am amidst development. Let me give you a little update. Would you like to see an update? Let me ask first, because I know one person asked, but I like um, you know, considerate. Shinhan gouache. I want to know about Shinhan gouache. Oh, I didn't Archer and Olive did a sub box. Has anybody ever done the Let's Make Art boxes? Curious about those too. There's only one that I would go single box purchase. Scrawler. Too many subscriptions. Got it. Cool. Thank you. Okay. Update the journal. And I think we landed on Creative Revival. So we're still updating the cover. I'm just waiting on that. My graphic designer is going on a little mini vacay for 2 days. So this is kind of the cover, rose gold detailing, kind of like you see here. Rose gold binding. And yeah, that's where we're at. I have to rewrite this letter because it's funny. When this first started, this was the first prototype and it was legitimately just this one color page and the rest was just watercolor paper. I am still deciding if I want it to be 100% cotton. Right now, it is a cellulose and I like it, which makes it the whole book more affordable. I like it. I painted this on it. I recently sold the second one of these that I did. You might remember the second one I did where I added lots of white detailing at the end. Did it on this paper. Love it. It does beautiful stuff. This is great paper, but it's cellulose. And I've always, and it's one-sided, but you can still paint on the other side, as you can see here, right? What did I do in the front here? Just some basic tests. Actually, this actually has multiple. This has smooth, so like hot press, cold press, and rough in it. I was originally going to do a combo, but this is the standard cold press. I mean, look at the beautiful stuff it does on cellulose. Yeah, I did a bunch of like scrubbing and beating it up and bullying it around and lifting, and it responds really well. So yeah, I'm still on the fence. Still on the fence. More here. This is on the rough, but really beautiful. So what is happening though with this, it's becoming a little bit more of a book. Okay, let's see. Anne Marie says, you mentioned a granulating paint video on Insta a while ago and a video about watercoloring books. Are these still coming? The granulating paint, the big video. I just did a mini granulating just on the Karatakes. That is out. You can watch it now. The big granulating, like roundup, very informational, longer video is still being filmed. I am still waiting on some custom colors that some of the makers are sending to me. So I am praying sometime in June that we can get it live. The watercoloring books is on my list. Yes. Yeah, the paint sold out. The Kuretake is sold out. People are like losing their minds, and rightly so, because it's so amazing, but they'll get it back. They always do. So this is turning into a book. So there's a section here like where I'm asking you to like commit to some things mentally before you start this journal. Document some things here that will help kind of release some junk out of your soul, and then suggestions for how to use the book. And then we get into it. So the book is comprised of finished artwork that you can embellish. And I'm going to talk about how you can embellish it, gel pens, bring in acrylic markers, finish the backgrounds, because it's all going to be on watercolor paper. So these pages are going to be on watercolor paper. This is going to be blue to match the cover. I don't like the black. It looks weird with the whole vibe. But, you know, bringing in all sorts of stuff on top of my work and turning it into your own. And at that point, I consider it your own. So we're going to have a couple pages like that. And in between all of these are going to be blank, just sketchbook pages. Then we're going to have projects that help you kind of, yeah, here we go. This is backwards. So we have 3 sections. We have mini projects, and I describe why these projects are helpful. So basically you're going to be able to come to this journal when you're having a particular frustration. So getting frustrated with your art can feel like an epic personal letdown. So these projects are meant to remind you why you are here. So this is a great section to come to when you're just generally frustrated, but you don't want to stop painting. You just want to stop painting on that particular piece. So just projects that you can do. Minutescape, mini bloom, water control shapes. Actually, these are, yeah. And then for when you have no ideas, these are projects that are great for when you want to paint, you haven't painted in a while, but you absolutely are just empty on ideas. And so again, in the middle of everything, you're going to have lots of empty pages. So that is the basic book. And then we did add a pocket. I took some polls. We added a pocket. I've got to decide on an inspirational quote. And then that's the back cover. Actually, we redesigned. The back cover's got more going on now. I just don't have a finished of it. So that is something that is coming very soon. I should be hitting the go to production button on that next week, which is exciting. It's indeed very exciting. The other thing that I'm working on, I've showed before, is the travel brush holder. This one's been on pause for a little bit just because of time, but this is an existing product that's out there on the market. And I'm going to make I'm going to innovate it with some elements that hold brushes upright so they don't smash into each other. And it's not going to be pink. It's going to be all on brand. I'm hoping that I can get them to do a pattern for me. If not, there'll be a little hang tag that has something very fun and pretty with my artwork on it, but really functional. The other thing I'm working on that really came to me while in Europe is I'm working on a smaller version of the collapsible painter's pot that is going to be, so this one is about 6 inches round, 7 inches round, and it's going to be much smaller. It's going to be more in this department, still split down the middle, still collapsible, but more for like cafe city sketching, shorter time out. So you're just going out for lunch. You don't want to lug the big one. So you're going to have 2 size options. Working on that. And the watercolor markers, for goodness sake, but that one is so deep in development. I'm not going to show that, but friends, I do have some exciting news that a lot of you, I think, have been waiting for. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Teresa. And I promise, hey, Zoe Creative. I do promise, we're going to get back to the markers. I promise. Yes, travel water cups. I already have one. This is on the market. This is sold out on ChristyRice.com, but still available on Amazon. So this is my collapsible painter's pot. If you're not familiar, this one is nice for like, if you're like, say, hiking, and you're gonna be sitting once you get somewhere for like an hour or 2. This is a nice size. This is a great size if you're going to be sitting at a cafe and painting for a longer period of time. But I'm going to make a smaller one that is just easier to get out, doesn't require a lot of water to fill up. And this does go to 2 different heights, which is nice. Let's see. I call the silhouette, when it's fully open, Fat Man's Pants. Because I just think it's funny, and I'm a fat lady, so I can say whatever I want. Anywho, I'm going to make a separate size, but this one's available right now. And the trick to getting this to collapse easily is to just squish down the first level and then, sorry, wrong way, and then just tamp it down. That's the easiest way to get it close. And those instructions are on the box. Anywho, back to the exciting news, and I promise we'll get to back to the markers, but this is my Box O palette development stuff, and it's been hiding away in my cabinet for a few years. When I released the Art for Joy's Sake palette, I released it to a lot of controversy that still lingers to today. Despite the palette being a bestseller on Amazon, off and on. I mean, you go on to Amazon any given week and the palette is either a bestseller or Amazon's choice or something. It does really well. And I stand behind it. I believe it is of professional quality. Many people disagree with me. More people agree with me. There's been a lot of controversy. It's been reviewed. There's videos on this channel where I've gotten very emotional and very angry about kind of the tone of the community sometimes, not about my palette, but just in general, the keyboard warriors and so on and so forth. Thank you, Tammy. So yes, if you need refills, it's going to be hello@christyrice.com. Attention, Kristen. She is my right-hand brand manager, all things awesome. Elizabeth, thank you. Yeah, so maybe I will do a giveaway. So anyway, I have been asked, honestly, since day one of launching this palette to bring out more colors. In the very beginning, actually, I was very close to doing a 24 color palette, and didn't. I did a 12. And so you can see, like, this is how my custom color blends start, where my manufacturer literally sends me little blocks of the extruded pigment paint, and then I can play ratios with it. This is how it comes to me. And it's quite a process. It's quite a process. So I get to like slice it up and play with ratios, and yeah, it's fun. So I have shied away from bringing out a new palette of more colors big time because it's been an emotional journey for me. Even though it's a very loud minority, they are very mean. They are mean, and they do a good job at trampling my self-esteem. And I was like, I don't know if I want to deal with more of that, right? And so something happened the other day, and it came to me. I realized in the conversation that happened that day, and I'm just showing you some of the original testing that was done and the stuff I went through to decide on colors. I realized in that moment that I just need to start on the new palette. I need to like just be done with all the nonsense. And actually I'll share with you a little bit about what that was. I won't. Well, she said I could name names, so I guess I'll name names. So Margot Halleck, we all know and love Margot. Her channel is so innovative. Her personality is exactly what Watercolor Land needed, and we're so grateful to have her. And she did a video recently where she it was like a top 10 products that you need to know about that you don't, something along those lines. And she was so generous and gracious to feature my products. So she mentioned my palette, but not only she mentioned pretty much the whole collection. But not only did she mention the palette, friends, she talked about the light fastness conversation ridiculousness. I'm not quoting her in using those words, but she went through a description of, and she's very knowledgeable. She collects paints like I do. I consider myself also very knowledgeable on light fastness and all that. Much more so than I used to be. But she basically said, like, watercolor by nature, because it is so watered down, is the least light fast medium of all mediums. And again, not quoting her specifically, so I may be getting some of this a little bit off from what she said. Oil paints, acrylics, none of them, watercolor can't compare. Even the same pigment combos in watercolor that are super light fast in oil are not going to be super light fast in watercolor. And then she directed me, the same day, she directed me to a video by Michael Harding. Anyway, she directed me to his a video of his, and he basically said the same thing in this just incredible accent. And he's, a wise gentleman, and everything about his presence, his voice, his tone, his aura, speaks to that. And he literally, and I paraphrase, sat there and said, this conversation, you know, and I paraphrase again, I'm going to reiterate, I'm paraphrasing. He said, this conversation about light fastness is basically getting ridiculous. Okay. He said this, and he said, you know, are we going to store, if we owned a Rembrandt, are we going to store it in a light filled room? Are we not going to protect it? And I'm sitting here watching this clip because Margot is like, you have to go watch this clip. He's like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. He didn't say ridiculous that many times. I'm not even sure he said ridiculous. He used a much kinder, gentler, but powerful word. And he was like, let's just protect our work and get on with our lives and stop talking about this light fastness so much. And I was like, yes. I was like, because it has been what I've been saying for years, okay? For years. And I'm sorry. I know I'm like emotional over watercolor palette, but I believe so deeply in the power that my palette holds for a lot of people. And I let all of those voices get to me because when this palette first launched and I saw how it resonated with people, um, I was very quickly going to go into a second palette, and I didn't, and I haven't for years. And that day, I had 5 people ask me, that Margot day and that Michael day. I had 5 people ask me when I was coming out with a new palette. So that, in combination with Margot's video and with her sending me to Michael Harding's clip, I was like, that's it. I said to my husband, it's time. It was God telling me it's time. So I'm developing a new palette. I want to read what Nicole just said. Hold on, that was great. She basically said to get off your high horse, put your pick your bloomers out of your tush. You add water and it starts to break it down. Spray it and get over yourself. Yes. Yes, that's basically what she said. You protect your work. Just protect your work. You probably don't want to hang precious watercolor artwork in a sunroom. Just saying. All right. And so that was, you know, I've talked about that. God always nudges me right here. I almost feel like he's lightly pinching me. It's just the thing that he does for me. I had that day, and so here we are. I'm gonna put out a new set. I don't know what it's gonna be yet. I'm starting playing around. If you have any suggestions, colors that you would love to see, mixtures that you would love to see, I have some things in mind because y'all know, I love to play around with surprising and delighting you with convenience colors. God is so good, Gina. Thank you. I want that container. More neon. Okay. All right. All right. More neon, more neon. All right. Cool. So let's get back to markers. So I'm sure very soon I'm going to be sharing, like, these are my sample paints. These are like the sample, you know, stuff that they have existing that then I create unique combos from. And then I also have some ideas for like from scratch combos that they don't already have. Well, we did a little bit of that with the first palette. There are 2 colors in the first palette that are from scratch, but I want to do more of it. But yeah, so I'm going to start working on it. I actually have been talking to them too about granulating because I do love granulating pigments so much, granulating formulations. And I have some ideas about what could be done that's really different out there. And I don't know, we'll see. So that's what I'm working on, friends. That was a Payne's Gray. Yes. Yes, a Payne's Gray. Okay, so let's take a look at the Pitt pen and play around with it and the acrylic. And I want to get some black paper. So I love the Pitt pen. It has that real brush feel, even though I don't think they're separate bristles. Let's look closer. Yeah, they're not, you can't separate them. So like literally on, let's turn this into a rose. Do you think I can turn all that mess into a rose? I think I can. So the Pip Pen is really fun because it has the feel of a true separate bristle pen, brush marker, but they're not separate bristles like the Zig. Yeah. Oh, Anne Marie, thank you so much for the super chat. My goodness. Thank you. Friends, if you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about, a super chat is basically like a tip. You can give me money. I never talk about it, but you can donate to the cause. It's like a tip. And yeah, so thank you. I know what you mean, Anne Marie. I do know what you mean. Thank you so much. I guess I did turn that into a rose. But anyway, the Pip Pen has the feel of the Zig, the true brush, but it isn't. But it has that just it like borders on making you feel out of control, but just enough out of control that you get just superior line quality. That's what I really love. I love messing around with line quality. And you really can't do that as beautifully and as excitingly with these fake brush tips. You see that kind of the difference in the line quality. Let's look at this. This is the acrylic Pip Pen Sharpie, and you can see the delicate differences in the line quality that you can get. It's, I mean, not subtle, more subtle. Yeah. I don't know why I'm feeling the roses today. I've definitely gotten, ever since my time with Jillian, and the rose kind of workshop that we did here on this channel, I have gotten my rose on much more confidently. And I'm not like fully just using her style, but the way she helped me see roses has given me more confidence in my own style. The Pip Pen does smear, so just keep that in mind. You want to keep a hand out of it like I'm not doing right now. Anywho, if you want to check out the collaborative video that Jillian and I did on roses, it was a hit. Everyone seems to really love it, and it helped a lot of people. I'll try to get that in the description section below as well. Solar flares. Oh, thank you, Zoe. Oh, Virginia, thanks for hanging out. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, Zoe, thank you. I would love 1 million subscribers. That'd be super dupes cool. I'd have the what is that, the gold plaque that you get here on the tube when you get to 1 million. But you know, I'm in a group, a mastermind about trying to figure out like advertising. Some of you probably have seen some of my ads popping up. You know, it's the reality of a business. You want to sell more of the thing that you believe in, right? And I struggle with feeling bad about that. Like I shouldn't, you know, it's like greedy or whatever. But I was in that group the other day chatting with someone, and a question was asked. I'm in an accountability like pod with like 4 other people. And someone was asking like, what are your main like goals or commitments to your brand right now? And everybody was responding with like, I want to hit like, you know, this financial threshold by this time this year. Everybody's commitments were financial based. And like, I couldn't even think of a financial commitment other than like, I'd love for my husband to be able to retire like confidently. Like, I guess that's a financial commitment because, like, whatever, he's got diabetes and like, I just want him to have the best quality of life for whatever time he has left, you know, feeling like he does right now, which is good. But ultimately, I responded and I said, you know, from the beginning, my focus has been on building a community that trusts each other, a community that feels safe with each other. It's the same thing. A community that is consistent. And everything I do in terms of product development, every decision I make stems from the community. You know what I mean? And so, thank you, Gina. So that was my commitment, to remain committed to building and maintaining a really beautiful, I'm using these zebra click arts just to add some color, beautiful community. That's my commitment, because I know, you know, the abundance that you know, I'll say God, you may say universe, believes you need, that abundance will come to you, right? And through that commitment, my hope was, because everybody was also sharing, like, so what are your goals if you reach your commitments? And I was like, my goal is like, I would love to be able to like travel the world. Like, so for example, we have, you know, we have our Abo Aba, the art mission in Uganda that we've worked with. I would love to be able to go visit and help and hang out for a couple weeks, take my family and teach these kids and bring over supplies and have the financial resources to do that. Someone reached out to me the other day. This is fun, just adding like texture in these petals. Someone reached out the other day, and they were helping a team of women, I believe in Africa. It might have been in Uganda as well. And they were trying to figure out how to make paint from naturally, locally available resources. And we were talking about like, well, you know, gum arabic is hard to get. It has to come from the slaughterhouse, and, you know, just different things. Like, I would love to be able to like sink more time and resources into things like that, like to help these women develop more of a sustainable business. Like, what are the additives that they could use that are going to be locally available and easier for them to either get, prepare, or make? So that those my commitments have always been to the community, and everything that comes out of that is gravy. Does that make sense? How did I even get on that topic? I don't know. But I'm kind of liking these clickables. I like the feel in hand. They're my favorite possibly so far. I want to try a black one of these to see how it sketches, because that's what I think I'm most excited about with these. Like the immediacy of the click when I'm like sketching out and about. All right, let's see how these feel for like just line art stuff. Of course, I'm going to go with berries. I can get a little bit of line quality difference, which is really nice. Actually, oh, I like you. I really like these just for sketching. I cannot believe the line quality differences. Let's just do branch here. I'm a big fan of like line and wash. Now we have to also see if these are gonna, what these are made of, and if they're gonna bleed if I put water over them. But I just love the hand feel. I didn't think I was going to. Okay, they also smudge. Okay, well, I just made a little boo-boo there with that sketch, but that's not the marker's fault. Yeah, I really dig these. I'm gonna just do some filler here, some really loose filler to see, just imagine kind of like just a twisty, turny, leafy type thing here. And then I'll do some watercolor washes to make it a little more obvious what the heck I did here. I have a feeling these aren't going to hold up to a wash because of the way they're smudging. But I really like the feel. Look at the thin line I can get. Look at that. Look at that. That's nice. Let's do a little bit of that here. Very nice. A little more blueberry action over here to cover my smudgy. Loosey goosey. All right, let's get some watercolor on there. Love, love that. Are we having a good time? If you are, I would love a boop, love a like. All right, let's take a little bit of blue. All right, it's holding its own. Take a little more blue. It's holding its own. It's not, it's bleeding a little, maybe. All right, let me go hardcore on this. More water. And let's really go in there. Okay, it bleeds a little, but it's an interesting bleed. Okay. Okay, zebra. Happy. I'm happy. Let's go over top. Let's see what we can get going. That's nice. Get a bigger brush. Number 12 round here. And let's double, I don't want to double dip there and there. Now this I think was Sharpie, so we all know what that's going to do. That had less water and it barely moved. It honestly didn't move. I am very pleased with that. I hope I can get these open stock. I want a black one in every single one of my magic pouches, magic cups. Every single one. Someone had mentioned a couple weeks ago somewhere in comments, would you like a live where I kind of walk you through packing up some of like my favorite combos for magic cups, like art supply collections for your car, for your kitchen table? Like, would that be interesting? Let me know. Let me know. All right, back to the Tombow. What is that actually smudging? Wait. Oh, is this the Pit Pen? This isn't Sharpie. This is the Pit Pen. What am I saying? Okay. Dirt. So it is smudging a little. But I actually like it. I like that a lot, actually. Yeah, so this is the Pit Pen. All right, black outline here is Pit Pen. This outline here was the click art by Zebra. And then the colorful here, click art by Zebra. This is the Tombow. Some watercolor here, just to reiterate for those on the replay. Speaking of replay, we love you here. And I want you to know that I want to hear from you on replay. So if you're here, just go ahead and say replay team or team replay or whatever you want that tells me that you're watching this after the fact, and get into the questions. Ask some questions. I am here. I'm trying to answer as much as I possibly can. I'm going to do something really crazy. I'm going to dip into my palette with the Tombow. I mean, how is that different from kissing brushes, like kissing together your Careen brushes? It's no different. So I literally went into my watercolor palette and grabbed some purple. Look at that. Grab some blue. Look at that. Isn't that fun? And then it'll run out. See, it'll run out, but it gives you a little more. Look at that. That's not going to hurt the brush or the marker. Tip of the day. Tip of the day. Love it. So kiss your Tombow or your watercolor marker with your actual watercolors. Okay, now let's take a look at the Careens because I really enjoyed them. And what else do I have over here? Oh, hopefully we'll get to those. I can't go for too much longer because I have to go live for my patrons at 3 o'clock. If you want to be with me at 3 o'clock as well and you're not a patron yet, you can sign up for a free 7-day trial. Like literally go sign up now and you can pop on live with me at 3 o'clock over there. So you're going to go to, the link is in description. It's patreon.com/Christy Rice. You could sign up right now if you wanted. All right, so the Careens. Here's what they say. Opaque color system, acrylic permanent ink, flexible brush tip. We'll talk about it. Water-based, non-toxic, suitable for most surfaces, easy color blending. All right, let's get into it. I love the feel. It's not a separate, again, not a separate brush tip, like separate bristles, but it has a lovely feel. I actually prefer the Sharpie Much better now that I'm using them both in close proximity. This is more ranunculus here than rose. Yeah, I love the precision of the Sharpie creative marker versus this. I love the juiciness of this acrylic marker. This thing is juicy, okay? So I was very happy with that when I first used these. I actually think I did these, did I do these live? I think I swatched these live on Instagram, and the replay is up there if you want to go see it. The color is nice. It's juicy, but if you do scumbly things like that, it will dry out, but give you really interesting textures. All right. And let's do a little ranunculus bud of sorts. Okay. Nice. Weird, a little weird. I don't know why I did a stem. I don't often do stems, but I felt a little stemmy. That's actually cute. Kind of holding its own because this is balancing this heaviness here. I'm here for it. I'm here for it. And you can see how much darker when I started here compared to here, because I was really moving and grooving just with one color and going across the page. Not to mention, I am using acrylic markers on a non-ideal surface, okay? Oh my gosh, Tammy, you used the blueberry swatch stamp and made a composition. I love that. I love that. Yes, please be a major pest while on replay. Yes. Yeah, older videos don't lose their value. That is for sure. Thank you so much for being here, Sketches. I appreciate you so much. Yep, couple of question marks in front of there. Yes, thank you. Yes, yes, yes. Jennifer revisits old videos. Thanks, Zoe, for being here. Bye. Tammy frames her blueberry composition that she made out of my swatch set, which is this. This was launched about 3 weeks ago, and she took the blueberry stamp and turned it into a composition. Let me just, if you're not familiar, if you're new here, I made a swatching stamp set, and one of the swatching stamps is a cluster of blueberries. So that's what she's talking about. You can head to the description section. You're going to see a link to those down there. And I already had to reorder these, so we have a new shipment on their way. Really excited, but there's still plenty left on Amazon. Don't worry. And I think they're still in stock on ChristyRice.com. So let's see. What should I do? I want to play around with these. I like this light purple, and I want to play around with these watercolor beauties from Five Below. I'm just trying to figure out a color. All right, so I'm gonna go and dampen some of the green area, or the areas that I want to be green, and then see what, because my suspicion with these watercolor fine liners from Five Below is that they're gonna work best on dampness. Not wet necessarily. And I also don't think they're going to work great dry and then trying to release their pigment. All right. All right. Well, that first stroke was great, but it died out of color very quickly. That's interesting. Scrub it around with your finger. Really cute, like diffused. Oh, and scrub it around with your finger. I like that. So you have this like nice blend of texture. And then I'm dipping my finger in water and not. That's fun. These are definitely, I like the tip on them. I like that are a little thicker, but still with precision. And then the color's reactivating really quickly, like it's coming back to life after the tip being kind of saturated with water, which we kind of witnessed there. All right, I like these. I mean, I really like these. They're cute. Be like a tree. Oh my gosh, that's the name. Be like a tree. That's hysterical. These are a delightful find. A delightful find. Go run out and get them. $5. And then these little baddies are just great for sketching, just scribbly stuff. I love doing this kind of thing where I have a really cute sketch and then I scribble and then I concentrate the scribble and then I get loose with the scribble and I literally create shading. Scribble really hard, a lot of coverage in the middle here where a ranunculus gets kind of shadowy and then go out from there. So using scribble lines that are closer together and further apart to create shadow is a really cool effect that I'm a fan of. And then you can combine that with just some watercolor. Wait a minute, are those releasing? Shut the front door. What? Stabilo 0.88 mini. Y'all, those are releasing. Like, those are water soluble. What? Wait a minute. And they did it nicely. Hold on. Let's see if I'm dreaming. I gotta watch the time, y'all. Yep, they're releasing a bit. All right, not as much as I thought, but that's a different paper. Just wait a minute. They're definitely releasing on this paper. 25% cotton. It looks like maybe they release not so well on 100% cotton, which makes sense. A lot of markers don't. A lot of water soluble stuff doesn't perform the best on 100% cotton. And this is the Fat Pack Fabriano 25% cotton. It's releasing beautifully. Stop. Oh. I just tried to cap my brush with my marker cap. That's funny. All right. One more thing I want to show you before we get grooving is just how to kiss these markers. It's a lovely effect. And Kareen really encourages it. You just tap them together. They encourage it with all of their markers. And you can go ahead and get really cool effects of double dipping. And go to this one and see what it does. Yeah, this one's showing it more. You can get really cool effects. Let me do it again. Just press the tips together. All right, and we're gonna just do some freehand so you can really see it. Look at some of the cool stuff you can get with this right there. You see that right there? And you can really push this, and you can, even though these are acrylic, you can get some really neat wet and wet effects with these because they are so juicy. So big fan. If you're looking to invest in something new, I'm going to have links to all these in my Amazon store. Of course, you know, I do get a commission. However you feel about that, or go find it on your own. It's fine. But I'm going to get these links up there. But if I were going to, out of and all of this, if I were going to definitely, like, on a budget, get something, I would head to Five Below and get these 100% and these. Right? If I were going to go bigger, I would get the Kareens. I would definitely go get yourself a set of Kareens. I don't know if I would go with the natural set first. It just depends on your stylistic preferences. And go out and get yourself an open stock of the Sharpie brush marker in like black or whatever you like to do outline sketching in. Fan-flipping-tastic. Fantastic. Whew. All right, let's take a look. Let's do a little roundup because we did a lot today. So we've got this beauty. We've got this. I'm going to turn these into some pieces for my licensing team because they could be a little triptych, huh? A little triptych situation going on. And we did this. I actually really like the gray. I just want to do it on different paper. So much fun. So much fun. I have also tried Korean Marker's watercolor marker, and I use quotes because they function differently. They only really release their pigment when they are still juicy on the page. Like, you can't let them dry. They don't really release once they're dry. So I don't consider them a full watercolor marker, but this was such a good time, friends. Remember, if you want to join me in like a few minutes on Patreon, you want to try me out, please head over to patreon.com/Christy Rice, sign up for a 7-day free trial. You just have to set a timer so your credit card doesn't get charged. If you don't want to continue on, no hard feelings if you don't. And I hope to see you over there, friends. This was a blast. Thank you. Thank you. And I just hope you go and, take from today. Here's what you need to take from today. Okay. Don't necessarily go out and buy new markers unless you really feel like you want to. That's great. Grab a Bic, grab a Sharpie you already have. I don't care if it's one of those big chunky ones. I don't care. Go do some sketching with whatever markers you have right now. Add some watercolor to it, see what happens. It's a great project. It's a great little exercise to just combine marker that you have, watercolor that you have, see what happens. It has a very immediate feel to it. And that immediacy is going to give you kind of that creative tingle and to get you in that joy loop that I talk about really quickly. I love this combination, marker, watercolor. Go get it. Go get it. Hey, Dee, I see you here. I did mail day yesterday. Did you see on Insta Stories? Y'all head over to Insta Stories. It's still there. If it's not, it's in archive. Dee sent me the most glorious package, and I can't do it justice in the time I have left. So, all right, friends, thanks to Sketches again for being our amazing moderator, and I'll see you soon.